Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Night Sky this week for June 28th, 2021. Hope you're having a great week. Thanks so much for joining us. We've got a lot of different things in the sky, so why don't we dive in? First up, I just wanted to say hi to everyone. I've got the chat room open. Comments are welcome. I'd love to hear where you're watching from. We've got Martha from Central Florida, and we're looking for all kinds of interesting things in the sky that you can see this transition week between the months of June and July. And what we have here is, of course, we've got the planetarium program opened up, and let's see what we can have in store for us for sky watching. First up, if you wait until sky becomes a little bit dark, just after, I would say maybe a half hour, 45 minutes after your local sunset, looking towards the western sky, this is what will greet you. You will see a very brilliant star-like object that, of course, is Venus. And then it'll be surrounded by these fainter stars. The ones on the right side of Venus, as you can see here, those are two bona fide stars. Whereas Venus is, of course, a planet, Pollux and Castor, to two Gemini twins, are visible just to the right of Venus. Now, this will be a little bit of a challenge because, of course, of the glare from dusk, right? From the sunset, having set maybe a half hour, 45 minutes before this view will cause it a little bit of a difficulty in being able to view these two stars. But if you have binoculars, it'll become that much easier. And if you're patient and wait a little bit longer, the skies darken just a tad bit more, maybe 50 minutes, an hour after your local sunset, and you can see that the stars Pollux and Castor jump out a lot better. Now, if we look to the upper left of Venus, what you have in store is another planet. We have it marked here in the crosshairs. That is planet Mars. Now, Mars was really big for viewing back last year in the fall when it was what we call opposition. Mars was super bright because it was much closer to us than it is now. It was as close as about 56 million kilometers away back then in October of 2020. Now it's a whopping 360 million kilometers away. So that is so far that it takes light over 20 minutes to travel between Mars and your eye. So that the reflected sunlight off the deserts of Mars takes over 20 minutes to reach your eye. That's how far that light has to travel, 360 million kilometers. Back in October, it was only 56 million kilometers, and the light took just over 5 minutes to travel one way between our planets. So quite a big difference. And where is all this happening? Why is that happening? Well, it really has to do with where our planets are. And if we magically kind of move out off our world, there's Mars close up. But if we kind of zoom out and we see those lines that are back there, those are the lines of the different planets. Each one is color coded. But if we kind of move up from above the plane of the solar system, we can see where our planets are in relation to each other. Now you can see Earth to the lower right. There's Earth. And then you have, of course, Mercury very close in the inner track. And then you have Venus on the outer track right there, and then Mars. So look at where Mars is in relation to Earth. Right off the bat, you can see that Mars is on the other side of the solar system, on the other side of the sun. So there's this vast gulf of space that separates our two planets. You can clearly see that in this view. And you can see why Venus and Mars look so close from our vantage point. So if we kind of look at them from our vantage point here on Earth, you can see that they're not too far away from the sun. Mars and Venus will look from our vantage point fairly close to the sun. And that's actually what happens, because when we look after sunset, you have to wait until the sun sets and look just above where the sun has set is where you'll find Venus pop up first because it's super bright and it's closer to us than Mars. You can see here, it is actually closer to us than Mars is. And Mars is much fainter to us because it is so far away. It's on the other side of the sun, literally. So there you go, folks. You can see Venus and Mars in the sky close together. It's just a vantage point kind of thing that we can see them. There they are, you can see in this planetarium view. If I kind of move it back closer to the time of sunset, they'll be a little bit higher up, but it'll be more of a challenge to see because of the glare of the sunset. But there they are. And the sun, of course, is here off to the lower right, already below the horizon from this point of view. So this is something that you can see anytime this week. And what's neat is if you watch this pair, Mars and Venus I'm talking about, over the course of the week, check out what happens. So this is the view basically Monday night, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and a week from today, Monday, the next Monday in July, the first Monday. Look at that. Do you see that they're getting closer? And in fact, they are going to get closer and closer, and keep watching them night to night. Look what's happening. You'll see even the moon coming in. This is already on July 11th. So by July 11th, in just a matter of a couple of weeks, these two planets will become very close to each other, and the crescent moon will join them. Will make it really a beautiful sight. So mark that down on your calendar. July 11th will be the peak time when these two planets will appear very close together. They're coming for a convergence in just a matter of a few weeks. And I'm going to put it back now to what it is on Monday night. This is where they are, and you'll see that they get close like that by July 11th. So just keep watching the pair of planets. It's going to be incredible to see. And then, of course, with the crescent moon joining them on that peak night, it's just a beautiful, beautiful sight you don't want to miss. So check that out. So that's what's happening really all week. I'd like you, it's an easy thing to see, naked eye. You just need clear skies and a clear view towards the western horizon. Now, if we wait until darkness falls this week, you'll also notice some of our favorite constellations are still up there. The one from spring starting to fade very quickly is Leo the Lion. Leo is marked by the brightest star, which is Regulus, right there. And you'll have a couple of hours at least to be able to see Leo as it's sinking into the western horizon. Of course, this was really a dominant force, Leo, during the evening time throughout the spring months here in the northern hemisphere. Remember, I'm recording this from Montreal, Canada, which is about 45 degrees latitude north of the equator. So views, if you are in more southerly locales from where I am, the views will be skewed to what you're seeing here, slightly different. And if we look towards the southwest, joining very close, right behind Leo, is Virgo the Maiden, still very visible in the evening skies. Spica, the lead star, the brightest star in Virgo, is a whopping 250 light years away. And despite that grand distance, is still a brilliant view for us. And if you look above it, you'll see an orange star. That's in the constellation Bootes, right? Bootes, the herdsman, is visible right there. And then, of course, off to the right of Arcturus is the famous Big Dipper configuration, an asterism, I should say, that is high on its side in the northwestern sky. So I've got to kind of reorient my view here, and this is what you would see in the evening, where the Big Dipper is pouring out all its contents as it's tipped on its side with the handle pointing upwards during mid-evening time. Now, if we move off to the southern skies and the southeastern skies, we'll be heading into the summer, truly summertime constellations, the traditional summer constellations that are rising in the mid-evenings. And if you look, this by around local 10 p.m., 11 p.m., if you can stay up that late and it gets dark enough, that's when we get that kind of sweet spot on near midnight where it gets totally dark. You might get a glimpse, if you have a dark enough sky away from city lights, you'll see that grand Milky Way band really starting to dominate the overhead skies late night. This will be even easier to see in the later part of July and, of course, in August. But that Milky Way band is really beautiful and, of course, easy to see thanks to the summer triangle of stars as well that really dominates the eastern early evening and then southern skies late at night. And I'll put it like that there so that you can easily see it. The summer triangle is marked by Vega, Deneb, and Altair. And if I turn on my asterisms, you'll notice there it's marked out with the orange triangle. Bring it down a little bit for you. There it is. That's the summer triangle. Deneb, Vega, and Altair. Each of these bright stars marks its own constellation. Remember, Vega is in Lyra, the harp. Up here will be the highest and the brightest. Then off to the lower left of Vega will be Deneb, slightly fainter, and marking the head of what's called the Northern Cross, very affectionately called that. You'll see it has a cross-like pattern of stars, but also known officially as Cygnus the Swan. Cygnus the Swan, where Deneb marks the tail star, the tail end of the swan, and the long neck, the neck of the swan is measured out here. You can see here, way out by these stars, out to another beautiful star called Alberio. That's the head of the swan, or the bottom of the Northern Cross. I know it's a little bit confusing, but those are the two names that it goes by, Northern Cross, or officially the title is Cygnus the Swan. And what's really neat, of course, is that the Milky Way band cuts right across this swan, this cross-like pattern. You can just right down the spine of this constellation is where the Milky Way band stretches. And what I'd love for you guys to do on a dark with the moon really in the very early morning pre-dawn skies, it leaves the evenings for us this week to look at deep sky objects, look at stars, and particularly start examining the Milky Way band, that our home galaxy, one of the arms, is stretched out before us here in the overhead skies. And you can see it marked with this planetarium program, that hazy band right across the sky, stretching from the north to the south and up in the upper overhead skies through Cygnus the Swan. So I want you guys to try your hand look for the summer triangle, look for the Cygnus the Swan or the Northern Cross, and see if you can find that Milky Way band stretching across this part of the sky. If you have binoculars, just wonderful. Try to get comfortable, lay back on a reclining lawn chair or spread out a blanket on the ground, and then just look up. And this will be really dominant in the overnight skies, like I said, over the next couple of months through July and August. Just fantastic views. We'll be talking a lot more about the Milky Way. I'm going to bring that home to you because this is something that you don't want to miss. It's one of those amazing sights. And you need to go out to the countryside really to see it visually with the unaided eye very clearly. But if you have binoculars and telescopes, this part of the sky is just fantastic to be able to just scan it with your binoculars and enjoy all those star clusters and clouds of stars. There are billions of them literally stretched out before you. Now, if we head out into later into the early morning skies, you'll see Mercury peeking up in the east right there. And that will be very visible very easily. But if you look towards the far right, towards the southern sky, so it's the far right of the sunrise, about a half hour to 45 minutes before your sunrise, you'll be able to see Jupiter very close to the moon. So this will be happening basically on Tuesday morning, June 29th. That's basically today, what you would have seen if it's already past your morning. And what will be interesting if we switch to Wednesday, this was Tuesday, by Wednesday, the moon will pull off a little bit farther away, but still hanging around Jupiter, but making a beautiful kind of almost a straight line with Saturn, the two planets and the moon. So it's a beautiful lineup of three worlds, very different worlds, all easily laid out in the southern sky. This is visible to the naked eye. You don't need binoculars or telescopes to see these two planets near the moon. They're really a beautiful sight. And of course, underneath it will be another star called Fomalhaut. Fomalhaut is another bright star, very evident for those of you in southern latitudes, a little bit of a challenge for those of you in the northern hemisphere, especially in the much more northern latitudes. But try your hand seeing if you can see Fomalhaut at the bottom. It's 25 light years away. It's in the constellation Pisces Australiensis, southern fish, basically. That's what that means. And this 25 light year star is quite evident. It's one of the brighter stars in the southern sky, and it is easily found thanks to the moon and Jupiter forming this triangular formation with Fomalhaut. Another interesting thing, again, this is in the early mornings. For those of you that like to wake up before dawn, this is something that will greet you in the southern skies this Wednesday morning, June 30th. So there you go, guys. You've got a whole lineup of different things to see at different points of the night or the early morning. Lots of really cool things. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube or Facebook or Twitch channels. I am on every week, and I give sky charts on my Facebook channel, Instagram as well, whenever possible. So thanks so much for joining me. I hope you have a great week. And of course, I wish all of you clear skies. Bye-bye.